Everyone assumed the whole Bugatti saga wrapped up with the Veyron, like that was the peak of how complicated, expensive, and restrictive these rebuilds could get. It felt like a one-time situation, something extreme but isolated. But now it's happening again, and somehow it feels even more intense this time around. On the surface, everything starts off looking completely routine. A damaged Bugatti Veyron rolls into the garage, another ambitious project lined up, another opportunity to take something broken and turn it back into something incredible. The process begins just like it always does, with a careful inspection, a teardown, and a methodical approach to figuring out exactly what went wrong. It follows the same familiar rhythm. Identify the issues, list the required parts, and begin the journey of bringing the car back to life. That formula has worked time and time again, transforming wrecked vehicles into finished machines that feel almost brand new. It's a system built on patience, experience, and attention to detail. But very quickly, it becomes obvious that this car isn't going to follow the same path. This isn't just any car, it's a Bugatti, and that alone changes the rules entirely. With something engineered to this level, even a small fault isn't really small. Every component is interconnected, every system relies on another, and once you begin pulling things apart, the complexity starts stacking up fast. What might look like a straightforward issue at first glance quickly expands into something much deeper. And as the inspection continues, more problems begin to reveal themselves. Not minor wear and tear, not quick fixes, but serious faults that suggest this car hasn't been properly maintained for a long time. There are mechanical issues, missing components, worn parts that can't simply be cleaned or adjusted. These are the kinds of problems that demand a full rebuild approach, not a simple repair job. Instead of rushing in, the approach stays controlled and deliberate. Everything slows down and a plan starts to take shape. Each part the car needs is carefully documented, from major mechanical components all the way down to smaller, easily overlooked details. Service items, interior pieces, specialized hardware, and even rare items like the speed key all go onto the list. Nothing is left out because with a car like this, missing even one critical component can halt the entire process. In theory, once that list is complete, the next step should be straightforward. Order the parts, wait for them to arrive, and start putting everything back together piece by piece. That's how most rebuilds work. That's how it's supposed to go. But this is exactly where things begin to change, and the entire situation takes a different direction. Reaching out to Bugatti seems like the logical move. After all, going directly to the manufacturer should guarantee the correct parts, proper support, and a smoother rebuild process overall. It's about doing things the right way, without guesswork or compromise. But instead of opening doors, that decision creates a completely unexpected obstacle. The first attempt to make contact doesn't even get a response. There's no reply, no acknowledgement, just silence. For a brand known for exclusivity, that silence is surprising. And not in a good way. Trying again leads to a response, but not the kind anyone would hope for. This time there's communication, but it comes with a condition that immediately changes everything. The parts won't be sold directly. Instead, the car has to be brought in, and all the work has to be carried out through their own system. In that moment, the rebuild stops being a straightforward project and turns into something much bigger. This isn't about availability or pricing anymore, it's about control. The ability to fix the car independently is taken away, replaced with a requirement to hand everything over to the manufacturer. That condition carries serious implications. It means the entire project leaves the garage and enters a system where every decision is made elsewhere. What gets fixed, how it gets fixed, and how much it costs are no longer in the builder's hands, and those costs aren't small to begin with. Even a basic service on a Bugatti can reach tens of thousands of dollars, and that's before factoring in any major repairs. When you combine that with the extensive list of issues this particular Veyron has, the numbers can escalate quickly, with no clear upper limit. But the financial side is only part of the problem. The bigger issue is losing control of the build entirely. This isn't just about restoring a car, it's about the process, the challenge, and the ability to take something complex and solve it piece by piece. Handing it over removes all of that. At the same time, keeping it in-house isn't a simple choice either. This isn't a typical car where parts are widely available and systems are easy to understand. Every component is specialized, every system is engineered with extreme precision, and even routine maintenance involves layers of complexity. Cooling systems, transmission behavior, electronic controls, fluid systems, Everything is interconnected in ways that leave very little room for error. Then there's the issue of the speed key, which adds another layer to the situation. This isn't just a regular key, it's a critical component that unlocks the car's full performance capability. Without it, the Veyron is essentially restricted, unable to reach the speeds it was designed for. Replacing it isn't as simple as ordering a new one. It requires coding, verification, and involvement from the manufacturer, which brings the process right back into the system that's already limiting access. Yeah, it's another example of how control extends beyond just repairs and into how the car functions as a whole. At this point, the rebuild becomes something entirely different. It's no longer just about fixing damage and replacing parts. It turns into a question of independence, of whether a project like this can actually be completed outside of the manufacturer's control. Instead of stepping away, the decision is made to keep going, to push forward and find another way. That means working through each problem manually, finding alternative solutions, sourcing parts from different places, and relying on experience instead of official support. It's not the easiest route, and it definitely isn't the cleanest, but it keeps the project in the builder's hands. That's what makes the entire situation so compelling. This isn't just a rebuild anymore. It's a challenge against a system designed to keep everything centralized and controlled. Every step forward comes with risk. Every workaround has to be carefully considered. One mistake doesn't just slow progress, it can create serious setbacks, both in time and cost. The pressure keeps building as the project moves forward, because the margin for error is incredibly small. At the same time, it raises a much bigger question about the future of cars like this. If both the Chiron and the Veyron follow the same pattern, it suggests something more permanent, not just a one-off situation. It points toward a direction where hypercars become increasingly locked down, where repairs are restricted, and where ownership doesn't necessarily include full control over the vehicle. That idea shifts the entire perspective on what it means to own a car at this level. Right now, everything sits in that tension. It's not just about getting a Bugatti back on the road, it's about proving whether it can be done independently, outside of the systems put in place by the manufacturer. If it works, it shows that even with restrictions, even without direct support, a project like this is still possible. But if it doesn't, it reinforces the idea that these systems are designed to be unavoidable, and that's why this rebuild has captured so much attention. It's not just about the car itself, it's about what it represents. Every decision, every solution, every step forward carries weight. Because in the end, this isn't just a restoration, it's a test of whether control belongs entirely to the manufacturer, or if there's still room for independent builders to take on something this complex and succeed on their own terms.